Hello and welcome to our story time. Today I'm going to start a new book called Knights and Bikes by Gabrielle Kent. I thought you might like this book. At the beginning of the book there's a map. And the map is a map of Penfersey. There you go. I've taken a picture of this map and put it so you can have a look at the map while I'm reading the book if you want, just so you know where the different places that we're going to talk about in the story are. So are you ready to start? Now, first of all, do you think this book is going to be fiction or non-fiction? Do you think this map is a real place or a made-up place, a make-believe place? Have a think about those questions. Chapter 1, Welcome to Penfersey. The wind howled around the cabin like a rabid beast as the rain crashed against the windows. The occupants huddled together in terror as a shadowy figure loomed at the window, moonlight glinting off the blade in its gnarled hand. Honk! Demelza's torch and the comic she was reading were torn from her hands as her pet goose flapped its wings furiously, causing their blanket tent to collapse around them on the bed. Pet goose? I'm intrigued. What is it, Captain Honkers? Whispered Demelza, grabbing the goose and hugging him so close that his feathery cheek was squished up against her pale, freckled face. Are we in danger? She popped her head up from the crumpled pile of blankets and peered around the little caravan where they lived. Outside, the wind howled around the caravan like a rabid beast as the rain crashed against the windows. Demelza and Captain Honkers huddled together in terror as a shadowy figure loomed at the window. Demelza let out a little squeak and dived back under the blankets as the shadow slithered towards the door. Shh, Honkers, she hissed, shining her torch at the goose and clamping his beak shut between her thumb and her forefinger before he could honk again. She peeked out from under the blanket. Whatever was out there had reached the door. The handle rattled. Demelza breathed a small sigh. She remembered locking the door before she went to bed. Her relief was short-lived as a metallic scratching sound came from the lock. It's trying to break in, she squeaked at Captain Honkers. The goose flapped his wings angrily, bursting to honk. The lock clicked again. Demelza took a deep breath. If we're going to be eaten by a carnivorous beast with 3 mouths and tentacles for arms, then we're going to go down fighting, aren't we, Honkers? She snatched up a blanket, grabbed her foam sword from under her wooden bed, and hid behind the door. Holding up 2 corners of the blanket, Demelza peered over the top like that and watched as the door finally creaked open. The monster slipped inside. Yarg! Screamed Demelza, throwing the blanket up and over the beast. Honk! Squawked Captain Honkers, pecking furiously at the thrashing creature under the blanket. Demelza began to whack at it, at what she thought was his head. Die, creature of the night, she yelled as the foam sword failed. Be gone, back to the pit from whence you came. She's hitting with the foam sword. McKay, rise, Marunder, burbled the creature. Demelza stopped whacking. Did you hear that, Honkers? She said, wide-eyed. It's trying to communicate. She pointed her torch at the struggling blanket and prodded it with her sword. What did you say, foul beast? The creature wiggled away from her and struggled to its feet before flinging off the blanket and putting its hands up in the air. A large duffel bag containing something big and rectangular fell to the floor. I said, okay, I surrender, said the demon, which Demelza had to admit was starting to look much less like a monster and more like a girl not much older than her. There's the picture. There's the goose. Was it a monster that she trapped under the blanket after all? No, let's find out who it is. She had brown skin and punky black hair. Her leather gloves were fingerless, and she was wearing slouchy leather ankle boots, and not one, but two earrings in one ear. She was the coolest looking burglar Demelza had ever seen. She was also the first burglar Demelza had ever seen. The girl bent down to pick up her duffel bag, and Demelza pointed her battered sword warily at her, like that. You're not from here, she said, narrowing her eyes. I know everyone on Penfurzy Island, and you're not anyone I know. Just passing through, said the girl, brushing the tip of the sword away, then rolling up her sleeve to rub at the little red peck marks Captain Honkers had left on her arm. I thought this place was empty. I'm not sticking around. I was just after somewhere to sleep tonight. Sorry I scared you. I'll be off now, okay? Scared, said Demelza, her frizzy red bunches bouncing as she leapt to block the girl's path to the door. We weren't scared, was we, Honkers? She grabbed the goose and held him under one arm. Honk, said Captain Honkers. Sure, okay, kid, you weren't scared. Now, if you'll move, I'll go and find somewhere else for the night. Demelza stood firm. Who you calling kid? What are you, 10 or 11? You're just a kid too. So be quiet, stupid head. Say it, don't spray it, said the girl, wiping her face with the back of her hand in an exaggerated motion. So are you going to get out of my way, or are you going to try to stab me to death with your toy sword? Demelza scratched her chin, accidentally picking the top of a scab she had forgotten was there. I haven't decided yet, she said. If I do let you out, where'll you go? The girl shrugged as she slung her bag over her shoulder. What's it to you, short stuff? The wind whistled around the caravan, blowing open the door and driving the icy rain forcefully against the windows. Demelza could see goose pimples all over the girl's arms. Her hair and jeans were also dripping wet, and she was only wearing a t-shirt under her light denim jacket. Demelza chewed her lip. Even though this very strange stranger had invaded their fortress, suggested that she was scared, and called her short, she wouldn't send even her worst enemy out near the cliffs on a stormy night like this. It was a night just like this when her own mother had. Demelza shivered and made a decision. She slammed the flapping door shut, locked it, and pretended to swallow the key. You're not going anywhere. Not tonight, she said firmly, then picked up her blanket and held it out to the girl. Honkers says you can stay here with me and him. He can sleep in my bed with me, and you can use the top bunk. The girl pushed her wet hair out of her eyes and shrugged as though she'd be just as happy going back out in the rain. But Demelza could see a look of relief under the facade. Yeah, I guess I could chill here for a few hours, the girl said. Long as you keep that Honkers on your side of the room, in case he tries to murder me in the middle of the night. That's Captain Honkers to you, said Demelza, putting the goose down on her bed and wrapping him up in a blanket. He only lets me call him Honkers. She finished tucking the goose in, kissed him on the top of his head, and turned to give the girl a sharp stare. Besides, as far as we know, you could be the type that does murdering, sneaking around at night, breaking into people's bedrooms. The only way to know that you won't do a murder on us in our sleep is if we're friends. She wiped her hand on the faded pajama bottoms and held it out. You've got to know someone's name if you're going to be friends. I'm Demelza. Demelza Penrose. I'm 9 and 5 months. I like comics, drawing, riding my bike, playing computer games. My favorite food is banana and peanut butter sandwiches, and I have a scar on my right knee from when Conan Lettinglos, the most annoying boy at school, dared me to do a 180 bunny hop on my bike. I totally did it though, she said proudly. Right, now it's your turn. So here's some of the things that she likes. The comics, drawing, peanut butter and banana sandwiches, computer games. Right, now it's your turn. The girl paused for a minute, looking at Demelza's outstretched hand. Demelza wiggled her fingers and gave her the biggest, friendliest grin, the one that showed all her teeth. The girl finally took Demelza's hand with half a smile. I'm Nessa, she said. Just Nessa? said Demelza. One name, that's it? Yeah, like Prince. Demelza screwed up her forehead. Prince who? Oh, it doesn't matter, grinned Nessa, making Demelza feel she was missing out on a joke. Well then, pleased to meet you, oh mysterious Nessa, said Demelza, shaking her hand firmly. The captain and I officially welcome you to Pen Fursey, the bestest island in the whole wide world. Honk, said Captain Honkers. You're right, Honkers, she does look hungry. Nessa, we shall throw a feast in your honor. Demelza whizzed around her caravan, opening cupboards and drawers and pulling out packets of crisps, biscuits, cheese, crackers, and a punnet of grapes. She threw them all into the center of her lower bunk and tucked a Thundercat sleeping bag into the side of the top bunk so that it hung down to create a tent. Hop in, she said to Nessa, scrambling onto the bed. Nessa slid her bag under the bed and hopped up next to Demelza. As Captain Honker laid his head on her knee, Demelza switched on her torch, lighting their faces from beneath in a manner that she thought was very dramatic. Then she tore open the packet of crackers. Ooh, and don't forget the guest of honor hat. She pulled a battered cardboard crown out from under the bed and plonked it on Nessa's head. Honk, said Captain Honker sleepily. He said it suits you, said Demelza. Thanks, said Nessa, shoveling crackers into her mouth and biting off a chunk of yard cheese without even peeling off the boiled nettle leaves it was wrapped in. Wow, you're really hungry, said Demelza, leaning forward, her head on her hands. Where are you from? How did you get here? How long are you staying? And why are you here? Nowhere in particular. By stowing away on the last ferry. Not long, I'm just passing through. And none of your beeswax. Ooh, you're such an iguana. Nessa stared at her blankly. Demelza scratched her head. I mean Enigma. Yeah, that's my spy name, said Nessa. Enigma. You're a spy? Said Demelza. Her intruder was becoming more and more interested. What are you spying on? I'm on a wrecking mission. I could tell you about it, but then I really would have to do a murder on you. Nessa grinned before her mouth dropped open as she spotted something under Demelza's pillow. Whoa, is that? No, it couldn't be. She reached over and pulled out a large white and grey glove. There were plastic joypad buttons on the back of the hand and wires sticking out of the sides. It is, she said in awe, a game gauntlet. I've never seen a real one. I thought they were banned after they kept setting stuff on fire and electrocuting people. Yeah, there's the glove that she found with wires and buttons on the back of the hand. They were, said Demelza as Nessa handed it back. She pulled on the glove and pressed some of the buttons. Beep, 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 beep. It doesn't work anymore, but it was a birthday present from my mom, so I didn't return it when they were all recalled. I like to wear it for a little bit every day. You probably think that sounds daft. She blinked up at Nessa. I think it's pretty cool. Nessa punched her lightly on the upper arm, just like the kid wearing it. Demelza felt a warm glow inside, even despite being called a kid. No one ever called her cool before. Honkers thinks you're cool too, she said to Nessa. I know you said you're not sticking around, but you're welcome to stay with us for as long as you like. Nessa's face lit up, but she chewed her nail for a while before saying anything. You won't tell anyone where I'm staying, she said at last. Cross my heart and hope to die. That means I promise, said Demelza, drawing an X across her chest with her finger. I'm afraid I'll need an even stronger promise than that, said Nessa, her face deadly serious. There are people on this island who can't find out that I'm here. She spat in the palm of her hand and held it out. Demelza stared at the little puddle of spit, wondering what she was supposed to do with it. Spit sisters, said Nessa, offering her hand. You know, like blood brothers, but less stupid. Demelza smiled as she understood. She spat in her own hand and slapped it into Nessa's for a very long, squelchy handshake. Ooh. Spit sisters, she said proudly, as cold saliva dribbled down her arm, cementing their bond. Now, that is something that we would not do now because we don't even hold hands. We don't even shake hands right now with the virus going around. We would definitely not spit in our hand. But this is just a story, isn't it? It's fiction, as you might know. So they're spitting in each other's hands to say that they're forming a bond together. But don't go and do that. That's not a good idea. That was chapter 1. Chapter 2, I'll read tomorrow. Do you like it so far? Very intriguing, isn't it? Well, thank you for joining me, and I'm going to put a bookmark in this book, and I'm going to continue reading it with you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.